Today, we are here in New York to announce a historic arrest across a wide-sweeping criminal enterprise that envelops both the NBA and La Casa Nostra. The men and women up here standing with me represent a small portion of the leadership team that brought profound justice in an era that needed it more than any. But as you now know, individuals such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier were taken into custody today, former, current NBA players and coaches. What you don't know is that this is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years. The FBI led a coordinated takedown across 11 states to arrest over 30 individuals today responsible for this case, which is very much ongoing. Not only did we crack into the fraud that these perpetrators committed on the grand stage of the NBA, but we also entered and executed a system of justice against La Casa Nostra to include the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchesi crime families. And you'll hear more about those details today. The charges and the arrests that were taken down across this country range from wire fraud, money laundering, extortion, robbery, illegal gambling.
Huge news coming out of the NBA.
To be clear, we're announcing today indictments in two major cases, both involving fraud. One involves sports betting, and the other involves illegal gambling, very specifically rigged poker games. The first indictment involves 6 defendants who are alleged to have participated in one of the most brazen sports corruptions since online sports betting became widely legalized in the United States. This scheme is an insider sports betting conspiracy that exploited confidential information about National Basketball Association athletes and teams. The second indictment involves 31 defendants alleged to have participated in a nationwide scheme to rig illegal poker games. These defendants, which include former professional athletes, used high-tech cheating technology to steal millions of dollars from victims in underground poker games that were secretly fixed.
And we need to unpack all of this.
Portland Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups and Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier have both been arrested this morning. Billups at around 6 a.m. in Portland, Oregon, and Rozier around 6 a.m., I'm told, in Orlando, where the Heat were playing last night. Rozier's been arrested for his involvement in alleged sports gambling, prop bets, and Billups, ABC News is reporting, is tied to an illegal poker operation tied to the Mafia. And so the FBI has been investigating this situation for several months, and in Rozier's case, at least 2 years. And today is making arrests.
Indication that the league had any idea this was coming? Did they know any of this might happen this morning?
As of last night, I was told the NBA did not have knowledge of these specific arrests. This has been led by the FBI. The FBI made their arrests early this morning.
You're talking about Terry Rozier, who's had a great career, currently playing with the Miami Heat, had some great years with Boston. You're also talking about Chauncey Billups, who's the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers.
Well respected.
Billups played for the Knicks. Billups won championships in Detroit. He was a finals MVP in 2004.
Yeah.
So you're talking about some of the biggest names in the game. And then you're talking about, in the one case, you're talking about these are two separate investigations. There's some overlap. But you talk about that poker investigation, illegal poker. So they would find, quote unquote, victims called fish. And they would lure these fish in, according to the feds. They would lure them in with the opportunity to play next to some big names, including Chauncey Billups. And then, Alex, you're talking about the technology. They had shufflers, like card shufflers. You are talking about special glasses. And then something I've never heard about, an X-ray table.
So they could place the card up face down and still be able to zero in on that card and know exactly what it was.
You're looking at it right here, right? That's it. Your card is face down, but everybody's in on it except for the fish, the victim, and they can see what card the fish has.
Because he is right. These are two humongous names. Not only with Rozier getting a bag from the Hornets, but also Chauncey Billups winning NBA championships with the Detroit Pistons and now being a head coach.
With respect to the sports throwing conspiracy, right?
Yep.
And the allegation, and Mark can correct me if I'm wrong, is that they bet collectively more than $200,000 at a point in time where they had inside information about Terry Rozier's injury, and therefore they knew.
Lack thereof.
Right, and they took the under on him to the tune of thousands of dollars of profits, which the group then gathered together to count.
Now, this apparently has been going on for 4 years, this investigation, according to the FBI.
That's right.
And Chauncey Billups has been the head coach of the Trailblazers for the last 4 years. I'm just trying to put everything together and want to be very careful of what I say because I'm still reading documents and still reading what's going on. But it's shocking. It's shocking. But this is, the nightmare of any commissioner of any sport, that what you're seeing isn't on the up and up, or a head coach of the league is doing something that's not on the up and up outside of that could potentially, because according to the authorities, this poker ring involved some figures in the Mafia. And if you get hooks into you that way, what else are you susceptible of, and what are you doing?
This is a wild, but I must emphasize, developing story with a ton of allegations being levied against the current and former players and coaches. Via Yahoo, we must separate what Rozier, Billups, and Damon Jones were arrested for. Thursday's arrests are linked to two separate cases. One involves sports gambling, the other an illegal poker ring rather. Rozier was named in the sports gambling indictment, Billups in the poker operation, which involved several organized crime families. Jones is one of three defendants named in both cases. The NBPA released this statement to Front Office Sports. The integrity of the game is paramount to NBA players, but so is the presumption of innocence, and both are hindered when player popularity is misused to gain attention. We will ensure our members are protected and afforded their due process rights through this process. ABC News printed of the Billups allegations, the poker games, which included basketball players to lend credibility to their authenticity, were allegedly rigged in favor of those running the games. They would use, again, allegations, advanced technology. They rigged shuffling machines and even had X-ray technology to read cards facing down on the table via one U.S. attorney. Furthermore, games were organized in 2019 in various spots like Vegas, Miami, the Hamptons, Manhattan. The profits from these alleged poker games in this scheme ran up to $7 million and counting. This investigation spanned 2 years. USA Today even wrote, the alleged fraud included self-shuffling machines that had been secretly altered in order to read the cards on the deck, predict which player on the table had the best hand, and relay the info to an off-site operator per the attorneys who were there with Kash Patel. The offsite operator sent the info via cell phone back to a co-conspirator at the table, and that person at the table was known as the QB. The QB would signal all of this info he had to others at the table, and together they used that intel in order to win games and cheat those who were playing. Wow. They add, among the defendants are current and former NBA coaches and players, plus 13 Mafia members. The Athletic wrote of Rozier that he was taken into custody in Orlando, where the Heat played on Wednesday night. He was accused of telling members of a betting ring that he would leave a game early, allow them to wager on his prop bets with the knowledge that he would not rack up stats. His agent, Aaron Turner, confirmed Rozier was arrested in relation to the probe, but said the player planned to fight the charges. He was previously cleared by the association. Rob Peterson would list his 3 takeaways with The Athletic. Here they are. NBA players and coaches were a crucial part of both alleged rings, according to the indictments. They were conduits of info for bettors who put money on prop bets and other wagers related to games. Peterson then says, I'd expect there will be further emphasis from the league on the accurate reporting of injuries and player participation. The alleged betting scheme feasted on and weaponized what law enforcement officials called non-public info about who was not playing in future games. There's a lot we don't know at this point. While 34 people have been arrested as part of this investigation, there are many unnamed co-conspirators in the indictment. Will there be more charges from the feds and more well-known people implicated? We shall see. I'm just going to say this, and this is not ill-founded. Because of the impact of sports gambling, because of how in your face it is, because let's even say a company like ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, opening up a sports book, this was bound to happen, if this is even true. It was bound to happen. And even if these charges are dropped, we still have Jontay Porter. And we still have other players who could potentially be participating in this. So I said this when it broke. Jontay Porter is not a lone wolf. His case is the tip of the iceberg in sports.